Zara watched the strange four-legged creature with fascination. Her three violet eyes blinked in sequence as she observed the large animal from a safe distance. The humans called it a horse. Zara had arrived on Earth 3 lunar cycles ago, as part of the first cultural exchange program between her homeworld Nexus and the small blue planet. She was stationed at a rural outpost in what the humans called Montana, a place of wide open spaces and skies that reminded her of the vast crystal plains of her home. Her host Lily stood beside the brown creature, stroking its neck. Gently. "Would you like to meet him?" Lily asked, with a smile. Zara felt her heart chambers flutter with excitement and nervousness. She had studied all the Earth animals in preparation for her visit, but seeing one in person was entirely different. The creature was much larger than she had anticipated. Its muscular body and powerful legs made her secondary tentacles curl with apprehension. Is it dangerous? Zara asked her voice translator, giving her words a slight metallic tinge. Lily laughed. "Not at all. This is Dusty. He's gentle as can be. He's been with my family for 7 years now." Zara stepped forward cautiously, her silvery skin reflecting the morning sunlight as she approached the horse. Dusty turned his head toward her and nickered softly. His ears flicked forward with interest. "He is curious about you too," Lily said. "Hold your hand out flat like this, so he can smell you," following Lily's instructions. Zara extended her primary hand palm flat. Her slender 6-fingered hand trembled slightly as the horse stretched its neck and sniffed her skin. The sensation of his warm breath against her palm sent a ripple of delight through her sensory membranes. "His respiration is warm," Zara observed with wonder, "and his eyes, they hold intelligence. Horses are very smart," Lily confirmed, patting Dusty's shoulder. "They can sense how you're feeling too." Zara slowly reached up and touched the horse's neck. Her fingers traced the short course, hair feeling the strong muscles underneath. A connection seemed to form instantly. The horse leaned into her touch and Zara felt an unexpected wave of emotion. "I feel something," she whispered, "a bond forming between our energies." Lily smiled knowingly. "Horses have that effect on people. Seems like aliens too can." "I do the riding now?" Zara asked, unable to contain her enthusiasm. Lily's eyebrows raised in surprise. "You want to ride already? I thought we just introduced you today." "Please," Zara said, her translator, unable to fully convey the eagerness in her native voice. "I have studied the mechanics extensively." After a moment's hesitation, Lily nodded. "All right, let's get you saddled up." The process of preparing the horse fascinated Zara. She watched intently as Lily demonstrated how to brush Dusty, place a saddle on his back, and secure it properly. When it came time to mount, Zara hesitated briefly, the height suddenly seeming much more significant. "Just put your foot in the stirrup and swing your other leg over," Lily instructed, holding the horse steady, taking a deep breath. Zara followed the instructions. Her naturally flexible joints made the movement easier than it would have been for a human. Within moments, she was seated atop the horse, her three eyes wide with amazement at her new perspective of the world. "This is incredible," she exclaimed, her voice filled with wonder. "I am so elevated." Lily handed her the reins, explaining how to hold them and the basic commands to direct the horse. With patient guidance, she taught Zara how to signal Dusty to walk forward, stop, and turn. As they began to walk slowly around the paddock, Zara felt the powerful muscles moving beneath her. The gentle rhythm of the horse's gait was unlike anything she had experienced on her homeworld or any other planet she had visited during her interstellar travels. "We have no creatures on Nexus that allow such communion," Zara explained, her voice filled with awe. "Our animals are not domesticated in this manner." After several circles around the paddock, Zara grew more confident. She sat taller in the saddle, her body naturally finding its balance as she moved with the horses. "Rhythm, would you like to try a trot?" Lily asked. "It's a bit faster." "Yes, please," Zara replied eagerly. Lily clicked her tongue and Dusty obediently increased his pace. The change in gait initially startled Zara, causing her to grip the saddle with her secondary appendages, but she quickly adapted, finding the bouncing motion Exhilarating. This is amazing. She called out, her normally reserved demeanor completely abandoned. I feel like I'm flying but connected to the earth simultaneously. They spent the next hour riding around the ranch, Lily patiently teaching Zara how to guide the horse through simple patterns. The sun climbed higher in the sky as they rode, but Zara barely noticed the passage of time. Her entire being was focused on the experience, the connection with the animal beneath her. When Lily finally suggested they return to the stable, Zara felt a pang of disappointment. Must we stop, she asked. Dusty needs rest and water, Lily explained, and you'll be sore tomorrow if we ride too long your first time. Reluctantly, Zara agreed. They returned to the stable where Lily showed her how to dismount, care for the horse after riding, and remove the saddle. Even these mundane tasks fascinated Zara as she learned about the relationship between humans and their equine companions. When can we ride again? Zara asked as they finished brushing Dusty down tomorrow. If you're not too sore, Lily promised with a smile. But we have all summer. That night in her quarters, Zara composed her weekly report to the Nexus Cultural Exchange Committee. She described in great detail her experience with the earth creature called a horse, explaining the profound connection she had felt and the exhilaration of riding. She concluded her report with a formal request that horses be considered for introduction to Nexus once proper environmental impact studies could be conducted. The committee would likely take years to approve such a request, but Zara was patient. As she prepared for sleep, her thoughts returned to the feeling of sitting atop Dusty, the wind in her sensory tendrils, and the powerful rhythmic movement beneath her. In all her travels across 17 planetary systems, she had never experienced anything quite like it. The humans often spoke of the special bond between their species and horses. Now Zara understood. It transcended planets, species, and even the vast gulf of evolutionary differences. No advanced technology on Nexus could replicate the simple joy she had felt today. As dawn broke the next morning, Zara was already awake and eager. She stood at her window, watching the sun rise over the Montana landscape. Her three eyes focused on the stable in the distance where Dusty waited. She could hardly wait to ride again. The next day, Zara arrived at the stable before Lily. The rancher Gina, who owned the property, found the alien waiting by the fence, her silver skin glistening in the morning light. You're up early, Gina commented as she approached carrying a bucket of feed. I could not sleep, Zara admitted. My thoughts kept returning to the experience of riding. Gina laughed. Sounds like you've got the bug, Zara asked her translator, struggling with the idiom. Is there a parasite associated with equine activities? No, Gina explained. It's just an expression. It means you've fallen in love with riding. Happens to most of us. Lily arrived shortly. After finding Zara already helping Gina with the morning feeding routine, the alien had carefully observed the process the previous day and was now mimicking it with surprising accuracy. Someone is eager, Lily said, smiling at the sight. Zara nodded, her head crest rippling with excitement. I have been researching more about horses in your database. I wish to learn everything. That's a lifetime pursuit, Lily said. But we can teach you the basics this summer. After the morning chores were complete, Lily led Zara to the tack room where she explained the different types of saddles, bridles, and equipment. Zara absorbed the information with intense concentration, her species' photographic memory capturing every detail. She selected a saddle for Dusty and carried it to his stall, her strength surprising Lily. The humans often forgot that despite her slender appearance, Zara came from a high-gravity world and was significantly stronger than she looked. Dusty recognized Zara immediately, nickering softly as she approached. His ears perked forward and he pushed his nose against her shoulder in greeting. He remembers me, Zara said with delight. Horses never forget a friend, Lily confirmed, under Lily's guidance. Zara saddled Dusty herself carefully. Following each step, the process was methodical and precise, much like the scientific procedures she was accustomed to on Nexus. When the time came to mount, Zara did so with more confidence than the day before. Let's try something new today, Lily suggested. Once Zara was settled in the saddle, there's a trail that goes around the property. It's beautiful this time of year, Zara agreed enthusiastically. The idea of exploring more of the Earth landscape from horseback filled her with excitement. They set off, at a walk, Dusty responding to Zara's commands with increasing ease. It was as if the horse understood her inexperience and was being extra patient. Lily rode beside them on her own horse, a dappled gray mare named Stormus. They left the confines of the paddock and ventured onto the trail. Zara felt a profound sense of freedom. The open land stretched before them, hills rolling into the distance beneath the vast blue sky. It reminded her of home, yet was entirely different. The air here was rich, with organic scents, the soil teeming with life is. This how humans experienced their planet before technology? Zara asked as they rode side by side in many ways. Yes, Lily replied, before cars and trains and planes. Horses were how we explored our world. They carried us across continents. They rode for hours exploring the boundaries of the ranch. The landscape changed from open pastures to wooded areas to a small stream. Days turned into weeks and Zara became a fixture at the stable. Her dedication to learning horsemanship impressed even the most experienced riders on the ranch. She rose before dawn each morning, eager to help with chores just to spend more time. Around the horses, Lily had introduced her to other horses besides Dusty, though the brown gelding remained her favorite. She learned the unique personality of each animal, discovering that, like humans and her own species, each horse was an individual, with preferences, moods, and quirks. On this particular morning, Lily had a surprise for Zara. "I think you're ready for something special," she said as they finished the morning feeding. "Today we're going on a real trail ride." Up into the mountains, Zara's eyes widened with excitement, her silver skin briefly flashing with luminescent patterns, a sign of strong emotion in her species. The mountains had beckoned to her since her arrival on Earth. Their jagged peaks reminded her of the crystal formations of her homeworld. "Is it permitted for me to travel so far from the research station?" she asked, her sense of duty briefly overriding her enthusiasm. "I've already cleared it with your supervisor," Lily said with a smile. "They're actually quite pleased with your cultural immersion. They think it's good diplomatic relations." They prepared for a full-day ride, packing supplies and water. Lily showed Zara how to secure the saddlebags properly, distributing weight evenly on either side of Dusty's flanks. Other riders would join them. Nancy, who owned the neighboring ranch, May, a local veterinarian, and Kathy, a retired teacher, who had been riding these trails for 40 years. The women arrived as Zara was finishing saddling Dusty. They greeted her warmly, having grown accustomed to the alien in their midst over the past weeks. Montana ranch folk were practical people, and once the initial novelty wore off, they treated Zara like any other newcomer, eager to learn their ways. "Got everything you need?" Nancy asked, as she checked her own mare's saddle straps. "I believe so," Zara replied, her translator conveying her excitement through subtle vocal modulations. "You're in for a treat," May added. "These mountain trails show you a side of Earth few tourists ever see." They set off as the sun crested the horizon, casting long shadows across the valley. Dusty walked with confident steps, clearly familiar with the beginning of the trail. Zara had progressed enough in her riding that she could now relax and observe her surroundings while maintaining proper form in the saddle. The trail wound initially through rolling grasslands dotted with wildflowers. Then it began to climb, gradually entering a forest of tall pine trees. Their scent was sharp and resinous, unlike anything on Zara's homeworld. She breathed deeply, finding the aroma both strange and pleasant. "Look there," Kathy said, pointing toward a clearing. A group of deer grazed peacefully, lifting their heads to watch the riders pass. The sight of these wild creatures moving freely through their natural habitat filled Zara with wonder. On Nexus, most large animals lived in protected biodomes, the ancient ecosystem having been disrupted by early industrial development. "Earth still has so much wildness," she commented, her voice hushed. "Not as much as we used to," May replied, "but we've learned from our mistakes. Most of this land is protected now." As they climbed higher, the trees thinned and the views expanded. Zara could see across the valley to distant mountain ranges. Lily pointed out landmarks explaining the geography and history of the region. "Humans have such a profound connection to their landscapes," Zara observed. "No wonder your literature is filled with references to the land. It's in our blood." Nancy agreed. "My family has ranched here for 6 generations. The land shapes us as much as we shape it. The trail narrowed as they ascended, becoming steeper in sections. Here the horses showed their true value. Their sure footing navigated rocky patches and stream crossings with ease. Zara marveled at Dusty's intelligence as he picked his way carefully around obstacles, sometimes choosing his own path rather than following the horse ahead. "He makes decisions," Zara said with surprise. "Good trail horse. Always does," Kathy explained. "They can see and sense things we can't. Always trust your horse on mountain trails." They stopped for lunch in a high meadow surrounded by alpine flowers. The horses grazed nearby while the women shared food and stories. Zara listened intently as they talked about their lives, their families, and their experiences with horses. Each tale revealed more about the deep relationship between humans and equines stretching back thousands of years. After eating, they continued, higher, reaching a ridgeline that offered spectacular views in all directions. Zara sat motionless on Dusty, absorbing the panorama. Her species had achieved interstellar travel centuries ago, yet something about this primitive form of movement touching. The Earth, with each hoof beat, connected her to this planet in ways her advanced technology never could. This feeling, Zara began searching for words. This connection to the animal beneath me. The land around me. I have no word for it in my language. "Call it freedom," Lily said simply. They rode along the ridge for an hour before beginning their descent. Taking a different trail back made the journey a loop rather than a simple out and back. Zara noticed how the horses perked up, knowing they were heading home. Their pace quickened slightly, though still careful on the uneven terrain. The afternoon sun cast a golden light over the landscape. The shadows lengthened as they descended, making the forest they entered seem mysterious and primeval. Zara found herself listening intently to the sounds around her, the creak of saddle leather, the soft nicker of horses communicating with each other, the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. These sensations imprinted themselves deeply in her memory when they finally returned to the ranch property. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Zara felt simultaneously exhausted and exhilarated. The day had been physically demanding yet spiritually fulfilling in ways she had never anticipated when she volunteered for the Earth Exchange program as they unsaddled and cared for the horses. Lily noticed Zara spending extra time with Dusty. Her slender alien fingers moved methodically through his coat, currying away the dust and sweat of the day's journey. "You two have really bonded," Lily observed. "I believe we have." Zara replied softly, "Is this normal for a human and a non-human species to connect this way?" "Happens all the time," Nancy said as she hung up her saddle. "That's the magic of horses. They've been bridging gaps between different types of humans for thousands of years. Now they're bridging gaps between planets." That night, Zara made a significant decision. She contacted the Nexus Embassy requesting an extension of her Earth assignment. Her initial 6-month diplomatic mission had been scheduled to end in 8 weeks, but now she couldn't imagine leaving so soon. In her formal request, she emphasized the cultural value of extended immersion and the importance of understanding human pastoral traditions for future relations between their worlds. What she didn't explicitly state was her personal attachment to Dusty and the other horses, or how riding had transformed her understanding of Earth. The next morning, she woke before dawn, her body still sore from the previous day's long ride. Under normal circumstances, she would have activated her body's accelerated healing protocols, but she chose not to. The physical reminder of her journey felt important somehow, a connection to the experience that she wanted to preserve. She arrived at the stable to find Lily already there. "Thought you might sleep in today after yesterday," Lily said, looking up from where she was mixing feed. "I could not," Zara admitted. "I find myself drawn here regardless of physical discomfort." Lily nodded, understanding perfectly. "No need to ride today, though. Dusty deserves a rest day after the mountain trail. I would like to learn more about care." Zara said, "I wish to understand all aspects of horsemanship." Lily smiled brightly. "You're really serious about this, aren't you? It has become more than an academic interest." Zara confirmed it is now a passion for the rest of the morning. Lily taught Zara about hoof care, demonstrating how to use various tools to clean check and maintain the horse's feet. Zara learned about thrush and stone bruises, about the importance of proper trimming and the signs of lameness. She absorbed the information with her usual methodical precision. But there was something more now, an emotional investment in the knowledge in the afternoon. A farrier named Kate arrived to reshoe several horses. Zara watched with fascination as the human expertly trimmed the hooves, shaped the metal shoes, and nailed them into place. The ancient craft seemed both primitive and sophisticated, a perfect balance of traditional knowledge and practical skill. Do all humans possess such specialized knowledge? Zara asked, as Kate finished with the last horse. We all have our areas of expertise, Kate replied, wiping sweat from her brow. I can't build spaceships like your people, but I can keep a horse sound and comfortable. The casual reference to their different technologies made Zara reflect on the contrasts between their civilizations. Nexus had achieved remarkable technological advancement, but had lost something vital along the way. The practical hands-on connection to other living beings that humans like Lily and Kate maintained daily had largely disappeared from her world as the week progressed. Zara divided her time between riding and learning horse care. She discovered the satisfaction of properly cleaning a stall, of identifying and treating minor injuries, of understanding the nutritional needs of different horses. The practical physical labor connected her to Earth in ways that her official diplomatic meetings never had. 3 months into her extended stay, Zara had progressed from novice to competent rider. She could now canter confidently across open fields and navigate challenging trails with minimal guidance. Her understanding of horse behavior and care had likewise advanced. She could read equine body language, recognize early signs of health issues, and assist with most aspects of stable management. Her relationship with Dusty had deepened into a true partnership. The horse seemed to anticipate her commands, often responding before she consciously signaled him. Their communication transcended the physical cues Lily had taught her, developing into something more intuitive. One crisp autumn morning, Lily approached Zara with an unexpected proposal. There's a local competition next weekend, she said as they groomed their horses side by side. Nothing fancy, just a small show for ranchers and hobbyists. I think you should enter. Zara's 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of surprise among her people. A competition with humans, would that be permitted? It's an open show, Lily explained. Anyone can participate, and you've become good enough that you wouldn't embarrass yourself. Zara considered the idea. Her diplomatic mission was to learn about human culture and share her own. This seemed like an ideal opportunity to deepen that exchange, yet she felt a flutter of anxiety at the prospect of performing before human observers. What events would be suitable for my skill level? She asked finally. There's a trail class that would be perfect for you, and Dusty Lily said it's all about demonstrating good partnership and communication. You navigate obstacles and show how well you work together. The idea appealed to Zara. The trail class emphasized the bond she had formed with Dusty, rather than technical skills she might not have mastered yet. She agreed to enter, spending the next week practicing specific maneuvers under Lily's guidance. When the day of the competition arrived, Zara felt both nervous and excited. She had attended human sporting events as an observer, but had never participated. The small county fairgrounds bustled with activity. As riders prepared their horses and spectators gathered around the various rings, Zara's appearance naturally drew attention, her silver skin and 3 eyes marking her unmistakably as non-human. Yet the reception was warmer than she'd expected. Many of the local ranchers had heard about the alien who had fallen in love with horses. They greeted her with friendly curiosity rather than suspicion. You must be Zara, a woman named Patty said, approaching as Zara saddled Dusty. My niece told me about you. She says you ride better than most of her friends. I am still learning. Zara replied modestly, but I enjoy the process immensely. Patty smiled. Horses have that effect on all of us, no matter what planet we're from. The trail class was scheduled for mid-morning. Lily helped Zara prepare, explaining the judging criteria and offering last-minute advice. Dusty seemed to sense the importance of the occasion, standing unusually still as Zara groomed and tacked him. His coat gleamed in the autumn sunlight, his eyes bright and alert. As long as you trust each other, you'll do fine, Lily reassured her as they walked to the warm-up. Zara nodded, grateful for the encouragement. She mounted Dusty with practiced ease, settling into the saddle and taking a moment to center herself. As they walked around the warm-up area, she focused on their connection, feeling the rhythm of his movement beneath her. When their turn came, Zara guided Dusty into the ring. The course consisted of various obstacles, a small bridge to cross poles to navigate between a gate to open and close while mounted, and several other challenges designed to test horse and rider communication. Zara took a deep breath and signaled Dusty forward. The horse responded immediately, stepping confidently onto the wooden bridge without hesitation. From there they moved to a series of weaving poles, Dusty maintaining an even pace as they navigated between them. Zara found herself relaxing into the familiar partnership, forgetting the spectators as she focused entirely on the course. The gate proved slightly more challenging, requiring Zara to maneuver Dusty parallel to the obstacle while opening it, riding through and closing it without dismounting. Her extra fingers proved advantageous here, allowing her to maintain the reins while manipulating the latch with greater dexterity than a human might have. As they completed the final elements of the course, a series of tight turns followed by a halt, Zara felt a surge of accomplishment regardless of the judge's decision. She and Dusty had communicated flawlessly, demonstrating the bond they had formed over months of partnership. The audience applauded as she exited the ring. Lily waited at the gate, her face bright with pride. "That was wonderful." She exclaimed, "You two looked like you've been riding together for years." Zara's skin rippled with patterns of pleasure, her species equivalent of blushing at the compliment. "He understood exactly what I needed from him," she said, patting Dusty's neck. To Zara's surprise, she placed third in the class, earning a ribbon that she accepted with astonished delight. Many competitors came to congratulate her, some asking questions about her homeworld and her experience with Earth horses. She answered thoughtfully, finding that their shared love of horses bridged the vast differences between their species. That evening, the local newspaper reporter interviewed her, asking about her impressions of the competition and her broader experience on Earth. Zara spoke eloquently about the unexpected connection she'd found with horses and how it had transformed her understanding of human culture. "The horses taught me that communication transcends species boundaries," she told the reporter. "When Dusty and I are riding, we understand each other without words. That insight has profound implications for diplomatic relations between our worlds." The story appeared the following week, spreading beyond the local paper to national news outlets. The image of an alien from an advanced civilization finding joy in the ancient human practice of horsemanship captured the public imagination. Within days, Zara began receiving invitations to speak at equestrian events around the country. The Nexus Embassy initially expressed concern about the attention, but ultimately recognized the positive publicity for their diplomatic mission. Zara was granted permission to accept select invitations as long as they didn't interfere with her primary research duties. As winter approached, Montana weather grew increasingly harsh, limiting riding opportunities. Zara used this time to deepen her theoretical knowledge, reading extensively about equine history, evolution, and behavior. She was particularly fascinated by the long coevolution of horses and humans, how each species had influenced the development of the other. She also began corresponding with horse enthusiasts from around the world who had reached out after seeing her story. Many shared personal accounts of how horses had changed their lives, healing psychological wounds, providing purpose during difficult times, or simply offering unconditional friendship. These narratives resonated deeply with Zara, who recognized her own transformation in their stories. On days when the weather permitted riding, Zara treasured the opportunity even more. She and Dusty ventured out into the snow-covered landscape, their breath forming clouds in the frigid air. The silence of the winter world created a profound sense of communion between them. The cold didn't bother Zara, whose homeworld experienced more extreme temperature variations than Earth. During this period, she also began considering a bold idea. What if horses could be introduced to Nexus not just as an academic study, but as companions? Her world had engineered environments where Earth species could thrive. The potential benefits for her people seemed significant, based on her own experience. She drafted a preliminary proposal for her government outlining the cultural, psychological, and practical advantages of establishing an equine program on Nexus. The document was thorough, addressing environmental concerns, quarantine procedures, training requirements, and potential applications from therapy to recreation. "When did you find time to write all this?" Lily asked, reviewing the proposal one evening, her expression impressed. "I do not require as much sleep as humans," Zara explained. "The quiet hours of night provide excellent opportunity for reflection and writing." Lily shook her head in amazement. "You've really thought of everything, not everything." Zara admitted there are still many variables to consider, but I believe the potential benefits justify the effort. With spring came renewed writing opportunities. The landscape transformed as snow melted and new growth emerged. Zara marveled at the resilience of Earth life, its ability to regenerate after the dormancy of winter. On her homeworld, seasonal changes were subtler. The engineered ecosystems designed for stability rather than dramatic cycles as her extended year on Earth neared its end. Zara faced a difficult decision. She had received notification that her position on the diplomatic mission would conclude in 6 weeks. She would be replaced by another Nexian researcher continuing the cultural exchange program. The prospect of leaving Earth, leaving Dusty, filled her with an unfamiliar emotion that she eventually recognized as grief. She considered her options. The diplomatic corps offered advancement opportunities back on Nexus. Her reports on human culture had been well received, earning her recognition among her peers, yet the thought of returning to her technologically advanced, sterile world, without horses, without Dusty, seemed increasingly unbearable. One evening, as she groomed Dusty after a long ride, she confided her dilemma to Lily. "I must return home soon," she said, her fingers moving rhythmically through the horse's mane, "but I find myself reluctant to leave." The Science Council's decision presented Zara with a new dilemma. The position offered the opportunity to bring horses to her homeworld, potentially benefiting countless Nexians, but accepting meant leaving Dusty behind, the horse that had transformed. Her understanding of Earth could not be among the first equines transported to Nexus. Quarantine protocols required starting with younger animals, specifically bred and prepared for interstellar relocation. Zara spent days considering her options, often riding Dusty across the Montana landscape that had become so familiar. These journeys now carried a bittersweet quality, each ride possibly among their last together. She found herself memorizing details: the way sunlight filtered through pine needles, the scent of wildflowers, the texture of Dusty's coat beneath her fingers. "Have you decided?" Lily asked one evening, as they sat on the porch of the ranch house, watching the sunset paint the sky in vivid hues. "I believe I must accept the position," Zara replied, her voice tinged with both determination and regret. "The opportunity to introduce horses to my world is too significant to decline. What I have experienced here should not remain isolated to one exchange." "Diplomat." Lily nodded, understanding the weight of the decision. "What about Dusty?" Zara was silent for a long moment. The bond she had formed with the horse was unlike anything in her previous experience, a connection that transcended species and planets. "He cannot come with me initially," she said finally. "The quarantine requirements are strict, but perhaps eventually. Once the program is established." The preparations for Zara's departure accelerated. With only 2 weeks remaining, she divided her time between diplomatic obligations and the stable. Each moment with Dusty became precious, their communication deepening as if the horse somehow understood the impending separation. In her final days, Zara arranged for a professional photographer to document their partnership. The resulting images captured the unlikely pair, the silver-skinned, three-eyed alien atop the chestnut horse. Their movements synchronized their connection, evident even in still photographs. These images would accompany her to Nexus, visual evidence of the bond, she described in her reports. The evening before her departure, Zara spent hours at the stable. She groomed Dusty with meticulous care, speaking softly to him in her native language. The musical syllables seemed to soothe the horse, his eyes half closing. As she worked, "I will return for you," she promised, though she knew he couldn't understand the words. Perhaps he sensed their meaning nonetheless. When Lily arrived the next morning to drive Zara to the diplomatic shuttle, she found the alien still at the stable, Dusty's head resting on her shoulder as they stood in quiet communion. "It's time," Lily said gently, hating to interrupt the moment. Zara nodded, her silvery skin reflecting the early morning light. With a final caress of Dusty's neck, she turned toward the waiting vehicle. Her 3 eyes blinked rapidly, a physiological response. Her species had evolved to clear vision in emotionally charged situations. The journey back to Nexus took 3 Earth weeks. During this time, Zara refined her plans for the equine integration program, drawing on everything she had learned during her extended stay on the Montana ranch. The diplomatic vessel provided ample time for reflection and research, allowing her to develop detailed proposals for the Science Council upon arrival. Zara found herself a minor celebrity. Her reports on Earth culture had been widely distributed, and her personal experience with horses had captured the public imagination. Her first official briefing to the Science Council was attended not only by researchers but by government officials and media representatives. Zara stood before the assembled dignitaries, her formal attire markedly different from the practical riding clothes she had grown accustomed to wearing. She presented her findings with scientific precision, but also spoke passionately about the less quantifiable aspects of the human-equine relationship. Horses have been integral to human development for millennia, she explained. Their partnership enabled agricultural advancement, expanded trade routes, and shaped cultural practices across Earth. Their significance extends beyond practical utility into realms of emotional and psychological well-being. The council members listened attentively as she described her personal journey from academic observer to passionate equestrian. She shared data on the therapeutic applications of equine partnerships on Earth, noting potential benefits for Nexian society, which, despite its technological advancement, struggled with issues of isolation and disconnection. Following her presentation, Zara was assigned a research team and facilities to begin preparation for the eventual arrival of horses on Nexus. The project would require creating Earth-like environments, establishing quarantine protocols and training. Nexian handlers' work began immediately on constructing appropriate habitats, utilizing terraforming technology originally developed for colonial applications. Months passed as the project developed. Zara maintained regular communication with Lily, exchanging updates and seeking advice on specific aspects of the program. The ranch owner had become an unofficial consultant, sending detailed information about equine care and training methodologies. These transmissions also included news of Dusty, who, according to Lily, seemed to search for Zara during the first weeks after her departure. Despite her busy schedule, Zara found herself experiencing what humans would call homesickness, though not for Nexus. During her time on Earth, she had adapted to the planet's rhythms, the changing seasons, the daily cycle of stable chores, the physical connection to another living being. The sterile efficiency of Nexus now felt lacking in comparison. 1 year after her return, a breakthrough occurred. The interplanetary quarantine protocols were finalized and approved. The first group of horses, young animals specifically bred for the program, would arrive on Nexus within 6 months. Zara threw herself into final preparations, ensuring that everything would be perfect for their arrival. As the date approached, Zara received an unexpected communication from Earth. Lily had submitted an application to join the program as a consultant. Her expertise in horsemanship and her familiarity with Zara made her an ideal candidate to assist with the integration. The diplomatic corps reviewing the application had approved a 6-month position. With the possibility of extension, Zara could hardly contain her excitement at this news. Not only would she have Lily's invaluable assistance, but she would reconnect with someone who understood her journey. Her team accelerated preparations for both the equine arrivals and their human consultant. The day the transport vessel docked at the Nexus spaceport was historic. The arrival of Earth mammals larger than research specimens represented a new phase in interplanetary relations. Zara stood on the platform watching as the specialized containers were carefully unloaded. Each held a young horse monitored by advanced life support systems throughout the journey. Among the last to disembark was Lily, her expression a mixture of awe and fatigue after the long voyage. When she spotted Zara, she broke into a wide smile, rushing forward to embrace her alien friend. The gesture startling but welcome to Zara, whose culture typically maintained greater physical distance. "You look exactly the same," Lily said, stepping back to examine her, yet somehow different. "Nexus has changed me less than Earth did," Zara replied, leading Lily toward the transport that would take them to the research facility. "How was your journey?" Long, Lily admitted, "but I'm eager to see what you've created here." And I brought you something, a surprise. Zara's curiosity was piqued, but administrative matters demanded attention. The newly arrived horses needed to be settled into their quarantine facilities, their vital signs monitored after the stress of interstellar travel. The next several days passed, in a flurry of activity as the program officially launched. A week after the arrival, Lily approached Zara with a mysterious smile. "I think it's time for your surprise," she said. "Are you free this afternoon?" Zara adjusted her schedule, rearranging meetings. To accommodate the request, Lily directed their transport to the quarantine facility, a complex of domed structures designed to mimic Earth conditions. Inside the largest dome, rolling pastures had been created, complete with earth grasses and carefully regulated weather patterns. "They look happy," Zara observed, watching the young horses explore their new environment. The animals appeared to be adapting well to the artificial Earth habitat. "They're doing great," Lily agreed. "But there's one more arrival I didn't tell you about." She led Zara to a separate section of the facility, stopping outside a particular stall. She stepped aside with a gesture for Zara to look inside. Zara moved forward, her three eyes widening in disbelief. Inside stood a familiar, chestnut horse. His ears perked forward at the sight of her, his soft nicker of recognition unmistakable. "Dusty," she whispered, hardly daring to believe he passed all the quarantine requirements. Lily explained, "I started the process the day you left. Thought he'd make a good ambassador." Zara entered the stall slowly, her hand extended palm flat just as Lily had taught her that first day on Earth. Dusty stretched his neck, pushing his nose against her palm, with the same gentle curiosity he'd shown. Then his familiar scent washed over her, a visceral reminder of Montana skies and open trails. "He remembers me," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "He never forgot you," Lily confirmed, leaning against the stall door. "Every day after you left it, look for you at the usual times." 5 years had passed since the first horses arrived on Nexus. What began as an experimental program had evolved into a thriving cultural institution. The Equine Integration Center now occupied a sprawling complex of biodomes, each replicating different Earth environments from Montana, ranchland to Kentucky, bluegrass pastures. The horse population had grown to over 200 animals, with breeding programs carefully managed to ensure genetic diversity. Zara had been promoted to Director of Interspecies Relations, her work with the equine program recognized as groundbreaking in diplomatic circles. She divided her time between administrative duties, research, and her beloved writing sessions, with Dusty now a distinguished elder statesman among the Tao Nexus horses on. This particular morning, Zara stood at the observation platform overlooking the main riding arena. Below her, a group of young Nexians were experiencing their first mounted lesson, their silver forms contrasting with the various colors of their equine partners. The sight filled her with quiet pride. Each new generation of her people now had the opportunity to experience the connection she had discovered years ago on Earth. "Excellent progress," Lily remarked, joining her at the railing. The riding instructor, now in her 50s, had made Nexus her permanent home, serving as chief training coordinator for the program. Her expertise had proven invaluable as more Nexians sought to learn horsemanship. "The integration has exceeded even my most optimistic projections," Zara replied. "The psychological benefits alone have justified the investment." Psychological benefits were indeed significant. Research had documented improved emotional regulation, reduced anxiety, and enhanced social connections among Nexians who participated in the equine program. These outcomes addressed concerning trends in Nexian society, where technological advancement had correlated with increasing isolation. The diplomatic benefits proved equally important. Regular exchanges with Earth equestrian experts had opened channels of communication beyond traditional diplomatic pathways. Creating common ground through shared interest in horses, horse trainers, veterinarians, and riders from Earth now regularly visited Nexus, while Nexian researchers traveled to Earth to study different equestrian traditions. Most importantly, Lily added with a smile, they found joy. The simple pleasure of connecting with another species. Zara nodded, her three eyes tracking a particular student who had just achieved an independent trot for the first time. The young Nexian's posture reflected the same exhilaration Zara had experienced years ago during her first rides. After observing the training session, Zara made her way to Dusty's stall. The chestnut gelding, now 23 Earth years old, still maintained good health thanks to advanced veterinary care and the controlled environment of the biodome. His muzzle had grayed somewhat, his eyes carrying the wisdom of age, but he greeted Zara with the same soft nicker that had welcomed her from their first meeting. "Ready for our ride, old friend?" she asked, stroking his neck. The daily ride had become a sacred ritual for them both, a time to reconnect amid their busy schedules. Dusty nudged her shoulder as if encouraging her to hurry with the saddling. Zara laughed at his impatience. The bond between them had deepened over the years, transcending ordinary animal-human connections. Their communication now occurred, almost without conscious thought, each anticipating the other's movements and needs. They set out along a trail that wound through the largest biodome. The engineers had created an impressive simulation of Montana landscape complete with artificial weather patterns and indigenous plant species. Dusty's hooves fell on soil chemically identical to earth dirt, though formed from Nexian minerals. The sophisticated environmental controls even allowed for seasonal changes, providing the horses with the natural rhythms they evolved with. As they rode, Zara reflected on the unexpected path her life had taken. Her original diplomatic assignment had been scheduled for 6 months. Yet here she was over 7 Earth years later, her life permanently intertwined with horses and humans. The younger Zara, scientifically minded and career-focused, could never have predicted how a chance encounter with a 4-legged earth creature would reshape her existence. Their trail took them to a hilltop overlook. From this vantage point, Zara could see the full extent of the equine complex. The original quarantine facility, now a small dot in the distance, the expanding network of biodomes, the research buildings and training centers. The program employed over 100 Nexians and 24 Earth consultants, with thousands more participating as riders and volunteers. None of this would exist if not for one brown horse and a Montana ranch owner. Zara mused. The thought humbled her, reminding her of the role serendipity played in even the most scientifically advanced societies. She dismounted at the overlook, allowing Dusty to graze on the cultivated grass, while she reviewed reports on her portable device. The newest research data showed promising results in therapeutic applications. Equine-assisted therapy was helping Nexian children with developmental differences and adults with trauma histories. The horse's patience and nonverbal communication provided unique benefits that technological interventions could not match. A message notification appeared on her screen. The Nexian High Council had approved her proposal for the next expansion phase. This would include facilities for adaptive riding programs, allowing Nexians with physical limitations to experience horsemanship. The funding package also supported continued research into the psychological and social impacts of human-equine interaction. Zara sent a quick acknowledgement, then set the device aside, preferring to be fully present in the moment with Dusty. The technologies that had once dominated her attention now took a secondary role to the direct experience of connection with another being. This shift in perspective represented perhaps the most profound, personal change resulting from her Earth sojourn. After their rest, Zara remounted and they continued along the trail, eventually arriving at a section designed for more challenging riding. Here, natural obstacles, logs, shallow water crossings, and varied terrain provided opportunities to practice advanced skills. Despite his age, Dusty navigated these features with confidence, his movements still fluid and purposeful, returning to the main stable complex. They encountered a group of Earth visitors, new arrivals. For the cultural exchange program, Zara recognized Paula, a renowned natural horsemanship trainer from California, who would be teaching advanced communication techniques during her 3-month stay. Paula's face lit up with recognition. Wonderful to see you again. And this must be the famous Dusty indeed. Zara confirmed, dismounting to greet the human properly. He continues to serve as our ambassador and my personal teacher. Paula approached Dusty with proper horsemanship protocol, allowing him to sniff her hand before gently stroking his neck. Your reports don't exaggerate, she commented, observing the connection between alien and horse. It's remarkable. Zara invited Paula to join her for the afternoon meeting where the latest exchange programs would be discussed. The human trainer walked alongside as Zara led Dusty back to the stables. How are the Montana horses adapting to the latest environmental adjustments? Paula asked. The atmospheric calibration has improved their respiratory health significantly, Zara replied. We're now within 0.5% of Earth normal in all critical parameters. They discussed technical details of horse care in the artificial environment, each bringing different perspectives to the challenges. The exchange exemplified the collaborative approach that had made the program successful, combining Nexian scientific precision with human generational knowledge of horsemanship. After settling Dusty in his stall with fresh water and feed, Zara proceeded to the administrative center. The afternoon would be filled with meetings, planning sessions, and research reviews. The bureaucratic aspects of her position sometimes felt far removed from the simple joy of riding, but she recognized their necessity in sustaining and growing the program. The final meeting of the day focused on the upcoming Interplanetary Equestrian Exhibition, a demonstration event bringing together riders from Earth and Nexus. The exhibition would showcase various riding disciplines from both planets, including a new form that had emerged on Nexus utilizing the unique physical capabilities of Nexian riders. Their additional joints and different center of gravity, allowing for riding styles impossible for humans. As the planning committee discussed logistics, Zara's attention briefly drifted to the framed photograph on her office wall. It captured her and Dusty at that first competition on Earth. The image served as a daily reminder of where their journey began. Back in her private quarters that evening, Zara reviewed the latest transmissions from Earth. The equine exchange program had sparked widespread interest in Nexian culture among humans. Horse enthusiasts particularly embraced the connection, creating an unexpected bridge. Between worlds, schools on Earth now included modules about Nexus in their curriculum, using the shared love of horses to introduce young humans to the concept of interplanetary relations. A personal message from Lily appeared among the official communications. Her daughter Molly was expecting a child, Lily's first grandchild. The baby would be born on Nexus, the first human child to begin life on another planet. The news filled Zara with joy. Lily's family had become intertwined with her own life, their fates connected through horses and now expanding to a new generation.